Jet's future, fortunately or unfortunately now depends on its lenders, who have sort of taken over the goings on at Jet, and they are trying to find it a new buyer. But the question is, one, the lenders are not doing a great job of it, as is a consensus among all the airlines executives and experts and all that. They're not. On the one hand, they are trying to find a buyer, and on the other hand, they did not give it any funds in its last 1 month or 2 months to get it, to keep it pulling its operations, and which is why Jet ultimately had to shut down, because it said in its statements to the media, to its shareholders, and to its passengers, it said very clearly that it was shutting down because it did not get interim funds. So clearly there's a discrepancy there. On one hand, you're trying to find it a buyer, but on the other hand, you're sort of letting the airline die. The thing to see now is why a new investor would be interested in Jet. What is it getting in Jet? What it's getting in Jet is a handful of grounded planes. The DGCA, which is the Indian aviation regulator, the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, hasn't taken any action against Jet's license, and Jet has some time before its license sort of lapses or is suspended. But once that happens, what does one find in Jet? It finds huge dues of more than 15,000 crore. Apart from that, there is the money that has to be put into Jet for it to turn around and resume operations and get to a sort of a respectable scale. It finds a host of unemployed, unpaid, out of job employees that there is no way of sort of taking them back to the roles immediately. So there's a lot of problems. Also, please understand that Jet is already being sort of sold piecemeal, even though on a temporary basis, because SpiceJet, etc., are already taking on its planes. They're taking on its slots, even though it's been said that it's on a temporary basis. But what if Jet doesn't get back up? What happens to those slots? So Jet's future, as of now, if you ask me, in my humble opinion, looks extremely bleak. The management is now grappling with employees, not just in India, but also overseas, because Jet has sales offices in 20 countries. There are various labor laws that apply to Jet. They're sort of trying to grapple with the labor laws there and the employees there. And it all comes back to one question, funds. Where is the money going to come from to pay all these guys? So as of now, it's very uncertain. The lenders have been making not very favorable noises. They want massive haircut on the loan. They want the banks to take a massive haircut on the loans. They want the leasing contracts to be restructured. All of this may or may not be agreed to. So, and there is the looming fear of bankruptcy proceedings in NCLT that has loomed large over Jet for the last several months. One needs to understand what happens when an airline goes into NCLT. I mean, it doesn't have assets. All its planes are leased, and that many of them are deregistered. So what happens to that? Does Jet manage to operate even while it's in IBC? What happens to the debt and dues? So all of that needs to be looked at. As of now, it's very uncertain. It's up to the lenders. It's up to a new investor. The next week, the due diligence process starts for the bidders to come in and show to give their binding bids, and then it remains to be seen what happens to Jet.